They say only 4% of kids are born on their exact due date. Well, hello to my 4%. My little love bug, my very special own, our new co-host, our new um, member to the tribe. Just an amazing little girl.
I have come with story to tell. I have come with testimony. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So our baby is here. If you follow me on Insta, you should know that our baby is here finally. Oh my gosh, I feel like it was the longest journey, but she's here guys. So that means labor and delivery story. It was crazy. It was crazy. So grab your popcorn, grab your tea, whatever you like, sit down, let's get into it because it's juicy. You don't want to miss any of it. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button so you are informed whenever there's something new. Girl is a mom. We've upgraded from, you know, crazy girl to mommy girl. We are moms over here. We've joined the moms club. Labor and delivery story. Where do we start? Anyways, on the 6th of February, I started having contractions. Now, they were just minor. First, I thought nothing of them. If you've been following my pregnancy journey, you're going to get some of them. You're going to be able to understand a lot more of the story. But yeah, as I said, it was a crazy ride. So I started having contractions on the 6th of February, breaking 7th of February, but they were not really that strong. They're minor. It was like 15 to 30 minutes each. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed and we will see what happens the next day. Because one of my biggest fear, especially now during the COVID period, was to go to the hospital and they send me back. If you have been following my story, as I said again, if you're following my pregnancy journey, you know my struggle with finding a hospital that is going to be able to, you know, accommodate me and my husband, but we will get to that part. So yeah, I started having contractions in the night. Hubby was like, should we go to the hospital? I was like, nah, I just want to wait it out. I texted my midwife. She was like, yeah, there's definitely contractions, but if you go to the hospital, you're going to spend so much time at the hospital. Don't you want to take a warm bath, you know, relax, chill, try to wait it out and see if they're going to come more frequently. So I was like, okay, you know what, let's chill. 7 break, like the whole of the night on the seat, breaking 7 on the 7th. Throughout the night I could not sleep. The day started, I tried to get on with my day, woke up, you know, cleaned up, got dressed up for the day, went into the kitchen, tried to make food. I was just going crazy. Like I was just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. My husband was like, God, like I'll be doing some stuff and then you just hear ah! And then I'll stop and I'll be like, okay, it's gone, and I'll continue doing stuff. Like it was just a crazy day. That day passed. We sat on the couch on the 7th. We're watching TV again. As I said, if you've been following my story, you understand this part a lot deeper. We were watching TV. The contractions started getting a lot tighter. That was the 7th in the night, almost breaking 8. The contractions started getting so much harder, so much deeper. I was in terrible pain. All of a sudden my midwife texts me and she goes, the hospital you were supposed to put to bed in is having a lockdown because there was a COVID outbreak. they're shutting down the hospital, so you need to check on whatever other options you have. Panic. When I tell you panic, I burst into tears. I woke up, Hobby was already sleeping on the couch. I woke him up, told him what the news I had just gotten, told him I was going down to bed because my body was just shaking. I was like, all kind of thoughts were going through my head. And if you know me, you know I've been struggling with anxieties throughout this pregnancy. So I was just like, I'm going to go try sleep because I am in pain right now. I'm having contractions and I can't be, you know, I can't be up with this kind of news and all. Like, it was just too much. I went to bed, no sleep. The contractions started getting worse. They went from 15 minutes to 10, and they started coming like bam, 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 back to back to back to back. My hubby was like, at this point, it's around, because the news came at around midnight. Like, I don't know why this woman was still up at that time, but yeah, she gave me the news. At 1, I went down to bed. I kept turning and trying not to shout. Like, I don't even know what was going through my head. I was trying not to shout to wake up hubby, just trying not to disturb anybody. Like, that was my main, like, don't disturb anybody right now. And then again, as I said, I was trying to wait it out at home. I didn't want to go to the hospital to spend all my day there, especially because of the COVID situation. You're going to be in an isolated place. Who knows if hubby is going to be able to be with me? Like, it was just so much that was going through my mind at that point that I was just like, I'm going to struggle, but I'm waiting it out at home. At least I have him on my side. I can, you know, I'm in the comfort of my home. I can do a lot more than if I'm in a hospital room stuck by myself. So I'm downstairs turning and tossing and crying in my pillow and shouting in my pillow. At around 2 in the morning, he came downstairs and he made me crying and turning and turning. He's like, okay, I'm going to make you warm bath. Our water situation is crazy. Like, our water has this automatic system where it turns off the hot water in the night and goes back on at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we're trying to pour in hot water for me to go into the bathtub. There's no hot water. Oh my gosh, the craziness of that night. Hubby had to go put on the water boiler, boiling the water there, come pour it into the bathtub, go up, come down, go up. He had to go boil water in pots. Like, there was just so much crazy going on. Anyways, he did all that, filled up the bathtub. I got in there, was crying, turning and tossing. The pain went down a little, but it kept coming in. Like, it went from 10 to 7 minutes. I had a contraction app on my phone where we were tracking it. It went from 10 to 7 minutes, and I started panicking. At around 4 in the morning, he calls this hospital that my midwife had told me about, that, you know, they're shutting down, just to confirm. He calls them and they're like, yeah, we're locked. What now? I had found a hospital at the beginning, at the very beginning, but that hospital was not letting hubby stay there. So that was back to my first option. So we called that hospital. They're like, yeah, we can come. Hubby calls and tells them what's going on, how I've been in pain for that long, and they're like, yeah, you guys can come over when the contractions are really close, like 3 to 5 minutes. At this point, I think, as I said, I was 7 to 10 minutes. The pain, I was just towards 4 or 5 in the morning. It went crazy. It went from 7 to 10 to 3 to 5 in, like, it just back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I was like, man, I'm about to die here. Hubby's like, okay, I can't take this anymore. Get dressed, we're going. Mind you, he was going to take me to the hospital even on the seat when it was 15 to 30 minutes. Like, when it just started, he was like, should we go to the hospital? Like, is it time? Is it time to go to the hospital? I was like, no, babe, let's wait it out. So yeah, at this point, when it was 3 to 5, it's like, get dressed, get your stuff. You know, get dressed, I'm getting your stuff. Let's go. You never know. Anyways, at around 5 in the morning, pack our stuff. I freshen up, get a fresh dress, get dressed, and into the car we go, off to the hospital. We get there, he goes to the registry and let them know that we're there. We go into the delivery room. Like, they direct us where to go to the delivery room. Then a midwife comes, take me into, because you know they have to do all the first checkings to make sure everything is the way we said it on the phone. Takes me into the delivery room. Hubby had to wait outside for a minute. This lady does the COVID test. At this point I am in pain. She is sticking that long COVID test thing in my nostrils. First of all, like, this COVID test thing is like, can someone take this disease away, please? Anyway, she stick the cotton bud thing, the long one they do the COVID test with, sticks it into my mouth and then into my nose, like literally poking out your brain when you're already in so much pain. Does the first one, I let it go. I was like, okay, this is happening. I mean, it's normal, they have to test, you know, with all the crazy going on. It's normal, they have to test. All of a sudden this auntie comes with another one, and this one is a little bit thicker. Toss it into my mouth, into my nostril. Like, she went so deep, I had to push her away. She's like, but you cannot do that. I'm like, auntie, are you trying to kill me? I'm already in pain, you're trying to kill me. Anyway, she does her COVID test, goes away. A doctor comes, checks how far dilated I am. At this point it was just 2 centimeters. With all this pain I've been going through for days, 2. Like, are you guys trying to make me die? Anyways, all of a sudden hubby comes in. Apparently they had done his own COVID test outside, so he comes in. Then we're transferred into the delivery room, onto the bed, back to crying, tossing. At this point I had become Beyonce. My hubby needs to tell you guys about this part. This is like the crazy part. I could no longer talk. Like, words were not coming out. I was singing, like I was literally in a full-blown musical. Now he makes fun of me every day because of that, but it was at that, like, I literally could not get words together. I was like, oh hubby, baby, oh baby, the pain, the pain, the pain. Like, I literally was in my own world, musical, I don't know, like I was literally Beyonce in my world. Okay, I was giving him a full-on concert. Like, talking was that, we were singing. Like, I literally sang from morning till the time this baby came out. Anyways, spend the day there crying, turning and twisting, crying and crying and crying. The midwife came again, was like, I can see you in so much pain, do you want to go into the bathtub? We went into the bathtub again. I sat there for an hour or 2. At this point it's 10 in the morning, still not really dilated. They have been packing me with painkillers up and down. At this point I'm just like, I'll sleep for an hour, wake up crying, sleep for an hour, wake up crying. Hubby, there was a chair, like, you know, this rocking chair. Hubby passed out on that, and I spent the morning just crying and crying. Went into the bathtub for an hour, came back, laid on the bed crying and crying, and this lady was just pumping me with painkillers. But before I even went into labor, before I went to the hospital, before anything, I already knew I didn't want an epidural because I heard stories. Anyways, I just knew I didn't want an epidural. So she'd given me all kinds of painkillers, some just stuck in my butthole, some to swallow, some drips, like all kinds. None of them is helping. At around, I had noted down the times when things started happening. Around 12, I started, like, the bloody show, like, had started at home, but it was just like minor. At around 12, I had a really big gush of that just came out. So I was like, oh, my blood issue is here. That went away. Still turning, still tossing, nothing happening. She checked again. At this point I was at around 4 centimeters, which was like, oh my gosh, why is nothing happening? I am dying. Like, I've been in this pain for days. Like, literally at this point I've been in this pain for days, nothing is happening. At around then, from 12 to the rest of the afternoon, I just kept turning and tossing and crying. And then at around 2 I fell asleep. Like, oh, before I forget, mind you, when on the seat when this started, I had a terrible running stomach. I don't know what it was, but I just had a terrible diarrhea. By the way, TMI, like, it was just literally, I was passing out water, like a lot of water, colored water, if you understand. Like, a lot of fluid was just coming out down there. And then on the 8th, when the contractions got really terrible, I started throwing up. Like, with every big contraction that came, I threw up. With every big contraction that came, I threw up. It was just crazy. So back to the point in the hospital. At around 2 I slept again, as I said. At 3, like, it was 3 o'clock, I heard this push. Like, I literally heard it burst. Like, like, you know when you fill a balloon with water and you just go and you burst it, that sound, push. Like, I literally heard that sound. As I said, I was sleeping. I jumped from the bed. I was like, oh my gosh, babe, my water break. And as I jumped, standing up, the water was flowing and oh my gosh, like, I was pouring water out, down and up. Like, there was just a lot happening at that point. I was like, because it happened, like, my water break, I jumped off the bed and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to vomit. But I had the drip on my hand and the stand could not go in with me into the bathroom. Normally when I'm going into the bathroom, hubby has to carry the stand and somehow fit it into the bathroom. But at this point it was too late, so it was just like my water break. I jumped from the bed and then you had this all over the place. Poor midwife, I'm sorry. She came, had to clean it up. First of all, she was mean to me because my water break, hubby ran to get her. She was like, so what? Like, the response came in such a way that I was like, huh? Forget that part. So she cleans it up, goes again. She's like, okay, then now things are starting to happen. Let's just wait it out a little bit again. I tried to go to bed, not happening. I tried everything, not happening. Nada. At around, like, I went back to at that 3, after my water break, I tried to lay down again. I laid down. The pain just from the point my water break, the pain level, like, I never knew how much pain I could take until I went into labor, guys. Like, seriously, this pain, my god. Like, from 3 o'clock to 4, I started to shout. I went from singing from musical to screaming. Is that a screaming thing? I can't, like, screaming. When I tell you I was screaming the hospital down, hubby was so, at one point, oh my gosh, like, I was jump from the bed, lay back on the bed, jump from the bed, lay back on the bed. Like, I was trying to find a suitable position and nothing was working. Nothing. Everything I tried. At one point, you know, they'll always advise you to lay on your side and not on the back. At one point, I stood up, wanted to lay back. Hubby was like, okay, let him try to fit the pillow between my legs. I was like, if you touch me one more time. I felt so bad. After that, I started apologizing. I was like, baby, I'm sorry. Like, seriously, it was just so much drama going on in that room. Like, oh my god, I was screaming my lungs out, screaming. Hubby had gone to, at this point we were all just pissed because as the pain started at 3, hubby went to get the midwife and she didn't come immediately. She left me waiting for another hour, so he got really pissed, went out and really screamed at her. Like, you need to see when my husband is mad. Like, he really got pissed. shouted at this lady. At first, she came in running. At this point, I was dying. Like, I literally was dying. I was screaming my lungs out, rolling and tossing. She comes in, checks me like, oh, I can see a head. Things are happening. Let's lay on the bed. I'm like, auntie, so since I called you, you do not know that there was a head down there. But at this point, I was just like, let's let it happen, okay? Let's let it happen. No, she came in at around 4:30. From 3 to 6, it was just me screaming and screaming. Hubby had gone to get her, she didn't come. At 4:30, she finally came, checks, and she's like, oh, I can see a head. I'm like, is it today you know there was a head? Anyways, brings me to the bigger bed. I lay down, and then the real thing starts. If you want to hear this part, watch out for part 2.